What's up, everyone? We are back with a big day of NBA action here on Saturday, April 20th. Our Friday MLB picks went pretty well. We went 3-1 overall. We cashed our biggest bet of the day, which was the Atlanta Braves minus 1.5. So that one worked out pretty good. We also cashed the Kansas City Royals plus 120. A squeaker there with the Brewers minus 118. That one came through for us as well, but it took extra innings. They went into the ninth leading by 1 and ended up winning 2-1 in extra innings. So not exactly easy sledding there, but we'll take the win for sure. We didn't get the Nationals right. We had Nationals a flyer on them. They were plus 148, so they're pretty big underdogs in that game. They did not come through, and unfortunately on the NBA side, we listened to our brain instead of our heart. We took the Chicago Bulls. We definitely should have been on the Miami Heat in that one. They came through in a big way. You cannot discount that championship or really just like intense competitive mindset that they have. They dominated the Chicago Bulls, not even a competitive game, so should have been on the Miami Heat in that one. We'll see how they can do in their opening round series against the Celtics though. Regardless though, guys, I've got some bad news. There's going to be no video here on Sunday. We're going to take one day off. We're going to be out of town for the weekend away from our setup. So just one day off. We won't be having a video for Sunday, and we'll be back bright and early on Monday to bring you another MLB video, or probably a mix of MLB and NBA action. So regardless, just stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Take a second and hit that like button to show some support for the channel and all the work we've been putting in here every single day. If you're new, take a second and subscribe. It's 100% free. It can keep you from missing out on these picks. These videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Orlando Magic heading to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers in game 1 of their opening round matchup. Orlando comes into this game and into the playoffs in general. They've got to be feeling kind of good about themselves. I mean, there was a chance they could have had home court advantage here in the opening round of the playoffs, so maybe they're a little bit disappointed in that. But just in general, they closed out the regular season on a win, and hey, they're in the playoffs. They're a rebuilding young team. Maybe not rebuilding, but they're a building up and ascending young team who comes into this series. They have to feel like they have a chance here to win. The Magic are very healthy coming into this game. They can count on all their major pieces being rested and ready to go for this one. This is a strong defensive team. They're led by Paolo Banchero. He comes into this game. He's had a great season, his best season so far of his obviously still very, very short career. He's just building up. This squad is getting better and better. We have seen Franz Wagner take a little bit of a step back in terms of shooting the ball this season, but just in general, their entire starting lineup, they can feel pretty good about it. They're not a team that's going to put up a ton of points. They're not exactly going to wow you on the offensive end, but just in general, they have to feel pretty good about how things have gone. In the last game of their regular season, they absolutely dominated the Milwaukee Bucks, who were playing without Giannis in that game. So, I mean, I guess there's not a massive amount we can take from that, but I mean, getting the win here, getting the win to finish the season off, that had to feel pretty good. They didn't have a great night shooting the ball from the perimeter, but we did see Paolo score 26 points. We saw Franz Wagner score 25 points. So just in general, this team, they're looking pretty good. It seems like they're in a good spot here heading into the playoffs. Obviously, the main thing is to be healthy at this time of year, and they definitely have that on their side. They're going to be looking to play some tough defensive basketball and kind of muck things up, make it difficult for their opponents, and I think they've got the right personnel out there to do that. They've got a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. They don't have exactly a ton of go-to scorers here, but bringing Markelle Fultz off the bench can be a solid look. We've got Jonathan Isaac. We've got Mo Wagner coming off the bench. He's a great energy guy, and he can have some scoring outbursts every once in a while. Joe Ingles shooting coming off the bench can be a big help, and just in general, we expect heavy minutes for guys like Suggs, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero. I think we'll see him put up big numbers in this series in general, and they seem like they're catching a pretty good opponent in this one. In their opening round, they're going against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had a really, really tough time there at the end of the season. They just were not beating anyone. They lost their last game of the season to the Charlotte Hornets. They weren't peaking at the right time of the year. It's looked like this whole pairing of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland is kind of turning into something of a mess. There's a lot of rumors swirling around whether or not Donovan Mitchell is going to commit to staying in Cleveland long term, and my guess would definitely be that he will not be doing that. Cleveland also has a clean injury report. They're going to be leaning heavily here on the guard play of Garland and Mitchell. I mean, I guess we've seen some explosions from Max Strus before, so like he can put up some numbers, but we have not been impressed recently, or kind of just this season in general, in the scoring of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Mobley just has not taken those big strides forward that a lot of us expected him to take. It looked like he was going to be become like a shut-down defensive player, but he's good on the defensive end, don't get me wrong, but his offense hasn't really matured, and we haven't really seen him get better. It seems like he kind of reached a ceiling there in his rookie season. And Jarrett Allen, I don't know, guys. I mean, he's a great defensive center. He grabs some rebounds and stuff like that, but he's not exactly going to be lighting up the scoreboard. Looking at the season series between these two teams, we see that each one of them have won 2 games. Over those 4 games, we saw the Magic. They got the most recent win in that matchup. They won by 7 points in Cleveland, but that was back on February 22nd. So I don't think there's a massive amount we can take from that game. Just in general, looking at this series, looking at these matchups, I think things could be a little bit tough for the Cavaliers here in the opening game. I mean, they've got some things to figure out. They definitely have some high skill players, and they've got the experience in Donovan Mitchell, who's been there, done that in the playoffs. He's put up some crazy numbers. Playoff Donovan Mitchell seems like a very real thing. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see that Cleveland is -4.5. That seems a little bit heavy to me, guys. We see that the Orlando Magic, they're 23-18 against the spread on the road this season. Cleveland is only 18-21-1 against the spread when playing at home. So I think we're going to lean towards the Orlando Magic and the points right now. I don't know if this is going to be one of our pinned comment plays, but we definitely like it a good amount. Looking at the over-under in this game, we see that it's at 207.5, so a pretty small number, which I guess isn't super shocking, but when you look at the trends for these two teams, that seems like a pretty small number. We got Orlando, they're slightly an over team when playing on the road this season, but when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they are 23-16-1 to the over when playing at home. So that's a definite over trend in this game. We're going to be looking at the over in this one for sure. I think there's going to be more than those 207.5 total points scored in this game. I know the Orlando Magic aren't really known for lighting up the scoreboard, don't get me wrong, but I think we're going to see enough offense to get over that very small number. So something new in this video, guys, we're going to dive into some player props for this game. I think there are some decent spots out there that we're definitely going to take a look at. First one on the docket right now, we're looking at Joe Ingles, over 2.5 points. That's not very many points. The guy doesn't get a ton of minutes, but we definitely expect him to get somewhere between 10 and like 15 to 18 minutes, and he's going to get up a couple of threes. There's no way that he's not. They're going to be much more focused, the Cavs are, on shutting down guys like Banchero and Jalen Suggs and just other pieces. I think we definitely see Ingles get off a couple of 3-pointers in this game, and we only need to make one to get the over on this number and to hit our other prop bet, which is Joe Ingles over 0.5 3-pointers made. He's only got to make 1 3-pointer for this bet to cash. I think we're going to see him get a few attempts up, at least 1 or 2, and I think there's a very solid chance we see a few of those go in. Also, if he gets out there, if he's looking okay on the defensive end, they'll play him quite a few minutes, and we could definitely see him just have a scoring outburst that makes both of these look very easy to hit. So in our other prop, we're looking at another shooter. This time we're on the Cleveland side. We're looking at Max Strus over 2.5 made threes, and if you take that, guys, you can get it at plus 140. We've seen Max Strus have some crazy performances this season. He's healthy coming to this game. He's moving really well. He moves great without the ball. He's a high energy guy. We expect him to find some open looks, even against a pretty good Orlando Magic defense. I think he's going to have a chance to make some threes in this game. Cleveland's definitely going to be needing him to take every open shot that he can get. Otherwise, if he's not shooting, that leaves all the onus on Garland and Donovan Mitchell to score all the points. So we definitely think there's a very good chance we can see Max Strus knock in 3 3-pointers in this game. Moving right along to the second game on the docket, we're looking at the Phoenix Suns going on the road to kick off their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Suns come into this game, health has been a huge issue for them all season long, but not so much here at the end of the season, and we see right now here going into the playoffs when things really matter, they've got a clean bill of health. We've got Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, all healthy. Nurkic has somehow made it through this entire season without a significant injury, so that has to be one of the most shocking developments of the NBA season so far. We saw Grayson Allen just sign that big extension, so he's got to be feeling good, and he's been one of the best shooters in the NBA over the course of the season. So just in general, clean bill of health here for the Phoenix Suns in their starting lineup and on their bench. Phoenix has not been a great defensive team this season. They've got a lot of pretty big expectations on their shoulders for this game. We need Kevin Durant to do something here. He hasn't really had too much success in the playoffs since leaving Golden State, so a lot on the line for him in this series. We also see Devin Booker with a lot of playoff demons to exercise. I mean, he's had his moments in the playoffs for sure, but man, when you're getting blown out by 1,000 points by the Dallas Mavericks while you're talking to Luka the entire time, not exactly an amazing look. This team finished out their regular season strong with a win over the Timberwolves. Timberwolves, they won their last 3 in a row, all against playoff or play-in teams heading here into the playoffs, so they have to feel pretty good about that, and they have to feel excellent about being healthy right now. The Timberwolves, on the other hand, they come into this game, they didn't exactly finish out the regular season like they would have hoped. They did get Karl-Anthony Towns back out there, and that's been a big question mark for them all season, well, not all season long, but here in the second half of the season after he got hurt, was he going to be back in time for the playoffs? And the answer to that riddle seems to have been yes. We're definitely going to see him out there. He hasn't looked necessarily amazing since making his return, but we'll give him a little bit of slack here. I mean, he's coming back from a long time away from the game against the Suns the last time they played, which is only on the 14th, so only 6 days ago. He scored 10 points, but he had 5 turnovers and 4 personal fouls. He did have 6 rebounds in that game, so that's something positive we can look at for sure, but just in general, that's a little bit concerning. Like, he's definitely going through some rust, but I think him just being out there, that makes a big difference for his team. Looking at the season series in this one, we saw the Suns get the most recent win for sure. That was a very comfortable win from them there on the 14th, so that's a little bit concerning. Also, when they played back on the 5th, so twice they've played this month, and both games we saw the Suns get double-digit wins. They won 97-87, a very low-scoring game in that one. That was before we saw Karl-Anthony Towns make his return, so I guess, we can look at that as being semi-important, but just in general, it seems like the Suns kind of have the Timberwolves number this season. It's not probably a matchup that the Timberwolves would have picked if they could have picked who they would want to face, but just in general, we see Minnesota at home in this one. Looking at the numbers for this game, the Timberwolves are -1.5. The Suns are only 19-21-1 against the spread when playing on the road, so can't take a whole lot away from that. And also Minnesota, they're 18-21-2 against the spread when playing at home, so neither one of those numbers really mean a whole bunch to me in this game. We do see the over-under in this game is at 214.5, so a little bit on the high side, I feel like. And we see the Suns, they're 22-19 to the under when playing on the road. The Timberwolves are 22-18-1 to the under at home, and they are a dominant defensive team. So guys, I think we could definitely take a look here at the under in this game. Obviously, there's a lot of shot makers on both sides of the ball, but if they're going to let them play like they normally do in the playoffs, I think we could see offense coming at something of a premium. Although, I mean, Anthony Edwards, definitely a tough shot maker. Devin Booker, a tough shot maker. And Kevin Durant might be the toughest consistent shot maker in the NBA. So that's a little bit of a tough look for me. I'm not sure which one of these we're going to be on, but we're definitely taking a look at the props in this game. Also, we've got some interesting ones on some kind of fringe guys, maybe not all fringe guys, but first up, we're looking at Naz Reid in this one. His points total is only at 11.5. He's averaging 13.5 points for the season overall. In the last time these two teams faced off, he did only score 10 points in 20 minutes, but I think we can look to him to be definitely capable of putting up a little bit more offensive production than that. So we're for sure going to be on the over on the Naz Reid points. Also, we're looking at Eric Gordon in this one. The over-under on made threes for him is only 1.5. The dude gets a lot of open looks, like more than you would think he would get, and he's more than happy to hoist him up, even from several feet beyond the arc. So we only need him to rattle in 2 of those to cash this bet. That seems like a very good spot to me. Definitely give me a little taste here of Eric Gordon over 1.5 made threes. I think we'll see him put up some numbers in this game. Last prop bet that we're going to be looking at this one is Jusuf Nurkic. His total points plus rebounds is currently sitting at 18.5. This guy has not had a good time, you guys, against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Back on the 14th, he played 20 minutes in that game. He put up only 6 points and 5 rebounds. Not a great look. He doesn't seem to be in a great spot here going up against Rudy Gobert or Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't think he has the foot speed to really get around Gobert or just really the offensive moxie. Also, he's not really supposed to be scoring a ton of points, so I think if we see him grabbing a ton of rebounds, maybe that could be a small concern, but I expect him to have a tough time on the glass against these opponents, against these monster bigs from the Timberwolves. So just in general, I think Nurkic is going to struggle in this game. We'll take the under 18.5 total points and rebounds. Next up on the docket, we've got an Eastern Conference showdown between the Philadelphia 76ers and the New York Knicks. The 76ers did not look great in their play-in game against the Miami Heat, but thanks in large part to a Jimmy Butler injury, they were able to survive and advance by only a single point, and now they get to take on the Knicks in the opening round. Joel Embiid is healthy, but how healthy is he really, guys? If you watch that game against the Heat, he didn't look amazing out there. Not a great night from him, not getting to the line quite as much as he's accustomed to, and it seems like they're kind of letting them play here in the playoffs, so we can expect him to not really get away with as much foul baiting as he normally does here, or at least not as much as he got away with in the regular season, which is all we really care about. Definitely you want to see them let the players make the decisions here in these games. Overall, the 76ers, they've had some health concerns here down the stretch, not just Embiid. We see that De'Anthony Melton is still listed as out for this game, so it seems rather unlikely that we'll see him play. Yeah, he's been officially ruled out for game 1 of this series, so we'll not see De'Anthony Melton in this one. That doesn't really move the needle too much for me. The question is, what kind of player are we going to see from the 76ers bench? What version of Tyrese Maxey are we going to see for this game? Like, he didn't really impress me against the Miami Heat, not the way I thought he would. I thought he'd really be the driving force behind them winning if they were going to win that game. The guy that we saw really go nuts, though, was Nicholas Batum. He went absolutely bonkers in that game, so we'll see what he's got left in the tank for this one. I don't really expect to see him score 20 points in another game, but we'll see what happens. Weirder things have happened in the NBA. Maybe he goes on some sort of heater here. That would be pretty wild to me, though, but just in general, in terms of health, the 76ers can feel pretty good about where they're at, depending on how good of health we see Embiid actually being in. The New York Knicks come into this game. They've had plenty of time to rest and recuperate after a long Tom Thibodeau coached season, which can always be a little bit tough. They won their last 5 games to end the year, so you have to feel fantastic about that. We've seen Jalen Brunson emerge as an absolute superstar this season. The guy has looked nearly unstoppable in terms of health overall. We see the Knicks are good to go for this game. Obviously, they're not going to have Julius Randle. He's out for the season, but they have to feel pretty great with the group they have assembled right now. OG Anunoby is healthy and looking good, and just in general, this team, they're looking great, guys. There's no major holes in this lineup. I think they've got definitely the pieces to guard Embiid. We could see Anunoby guard Embiid a good amount in this series. We're obviously going to see Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson guarding him. They're going to give him a hard time, and we'll see. I mean, the whole goal of Embiid is going to be to get those guys in foul trouble and to get himself to the line a lot, so it'll be interesting to see how he's able to do that. But just in general, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Knicks are only -3 in this one. We do see Philadelphia, they're 24-17 against the spread on the road, so good road numbers for sure. The Knicks are only 21-19-1 against the spread at home, so not an amazing trend there to go with, but we're definitely going to be going with the New York Knicks in this game. We do see that in the season series, the Knicks won 3 of 4 games, with several of them coming in dominant fashion, and the most recent one, I mean, it was on March 12th, so kind of a while ago, and obviously Embiid wasn't in that game, but we did see them win in dominant fashion. So regardless, though, I think the Knicks are just a far, far superior team. I think they're going to get a comfortable win in this one. Knicks -3 is definitely going to be one of our core plays for today. Looking at the over-under in this game, we see it's a very small number. It's at 209 right now. I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense in this game. We don't have a ton of great trends in this one. We see Philly is slightly an over team, and the Knicks are a huge under team. One of the best under teams in the NBA this season, so if you wanted to take a taste for the under in this game, I guess I couldn't argue with you too much, but I definitely like the New York Knicks -3. We've got some player props for this game as well. I don't expect Joel Embiid to have a very good game here in game 1 of this series. I think he's a little bit more banged up than we realize, and I also think that Anunoby and the rest of the Knicks big guys will have a pretty decent time defending him here, at least in game 1. I'm not saying the guy's going to have a terrible series. I just don't see him doing too much here in game 1, so we're going to be taking the under on Joel Embiid's total points. Right now I'm seeing it at 29.5, and I definitely think he's going to go under that number in a pretty big way against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Additionally, we're looking at another under on scoring. We're going a little bit obscure with this one, but I think Bojan Bogdanovic, I don't think Thibodeau really trusts him enough to play him enough minutes to let him get enough shots to get over 8.5 points. Tibbs just doesn't seem to like the guy. I guess he's just not quite good enough or crazy enough or whatever on defense for Tibbs, so I don't think we're going to see him play a lot of minutes, and I think we're not going to see him be able to get over those points. That's just going to be a tough one for him. We do have an over on this game, though, that I like in the player props arena. Dante DiVincenzo's rebounds. This guy crashes the glass with the best of them. He had a crazy rebounding year last year with the Warriors. He's really down to go in there for offensive rebounds, and just in general, he gets after it. He's a high effort, high motor guy. He's over under on rebounds right now. If you take him over 4.5 rebounds, you can get that at +115. We like that one a lot, guys. That's definitely a prop that we're going to be on in this game. I think we see DiVincenzo grab some rebounds in this game. He's always down there mucking it up. He'll grab some offensive rebounds. He'll grab some defensive rebounds. Any long rebounds, he's definitely out there. We do have to worry a little bit about Josh Hart robbing some rebounds from him, but other than that, I think DiVincenzo's in a pretty good spot to get at least 5 rebounds in this game. Moving on to the final NBA game of the day, guys, we've got the Los Angeles Lakers going on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets. The Lakers managed to get past the Pelicans thanks in large part to a Zion Williams injury late in that game. The Lakers were in pretty comfortable shape in that one for sure. They gave up that big lead, though, and then Zion got hurt. gave them the chance to end up sealing that thing. They won 110 to 106, so not exactly a dominant performance, but hey, the win is what counts. They earned the right to face the Denver Nuggets in this game. That's going to be pretty tough. This is probably not the opening round series that the Lakers were envisioning, but they know they're going to have to get past the Nuggets to get out of the West, so I guess maybe they don't mind just getting it out of the way here in the opening round. Regardless, if the Lakers come into this game, they've got a clean bill of health in this one in general. We obviously see LeBron and Anthony Davis on the injury report like they constantly are. We do not care about that. Both of them are obviously going to be playing in this game with no limitations. It's the freaking playoffs, guys. I don't know why they're even bothering to put them on this injury report, but whatever. We see D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, they're ready to go. Rui Hachimura is ready to go. The real question is, how are they going to fare against a team they've had so little success against this season and just in general in past seasons? Like, they got swept by them last year in the playoffs. You can go all over Twitter and see all those memes about, oh, you know, the Nuggets aren't going to make all these bad shots again. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't really think it was the bad shots that sunk the ship for you. We did see Rui have a pretty good day against the Pelicans. We didn't see the Lakers bench look very good at all, though. Taurean Prince scored only 6 points. We saw Gabe Vincent. He's starting to maybe like round into form just a little bit here, but I'm not exactly ready to throw a parade for a guy who has barely played this season and only scored 9 points against the Pelicans. So maybe he'll be an impact player here in the playoffs, but that has yet to be seen. The Nuggets come into this game, they've got to be feeling great. They did end up in the 2 seed in the West, but I don't think they really cared about that too much, to be honest. The whole goal for them was just to be healthy coming into this series and coming into the playoffs. They're definitely looking to win another championship here. They should be the favorites, and they have to feel pretty good about where they're at with Nikola Jokic leading the way. He's about to win another MVP award, and he definitely deserves it. Health has been the major concern for this team leading up to the playoffs here, and they've seemingly timed things perfectly. They're fully healthy. We've got Jamal Murray ready to go. Michael Porter Jr.'s had one of his healthiest seasons ever, so that has to feel very good. KCP's ready to go, ready to hound guys out there on the perimeter. We see Aaron Gordon. He's ready to go. He's had some small health issues throughout the season, but he's good to go for this one. And also, the Nuggets bench has been looking very interesting lately, with Peyton Watson looking like a monster, and we've seen Christian Brown playing very, very good here in some spot minutes, and just in general, like, the guy has matured into a solid defensive player. He gets some very exciting offensive rebounds at times, and just in general gives this team the depth that they need to make these deep playoff runs. They're going to be very, very geared up and ready to go for this one. Looking at the season series between these two teams, it has been all Denver Nuggets. They've looked absolutely dominant this season. They won 119 to 107, 114 to 106, and then the last time these two met, last month, back on the 2nd, they won 124 to 114. I don't think there's really any major reason for the Nuggets to be worried about this game or afraid of this game. Looking at the numbers in this one, we see Denver is -7.5. We are definitely going to be on Denver -7.5 as one of our core plays. That will be down there in the pinned comment for sure. We expect a big game from Jokic, and just in general, I expect the Nuggets to dominate in this one. LeBron is kind of famous, or maybe infamous would be the right word at this point, for taking games off here in the playoffs. Like, game 1 of a series, not usually your best LeBron game. That more happens like in game 2 or game 3, when things start to get a little bit more serious, and he's had a little bit more time to figure out what's going on just in the game in general, which also plays into one of the player props we're going to be looking at. But right now we're going to look at the over-under for this game. We see it's at 223.5, a pretty big number, guys. We see the Lakers are one of the biggest over teams when playing on the road in the NBA this season, so maybe that would make us shade towards the over, but I do not think so. We see Denver, they're 22-19 to the under at home. They're a very good defensive team. I don't think we're going to see either team really absolutely lighting up the scoreboard in this one. I mean, we have seen these teams play some higher scoring games there in the regular season, so I think that's a big part of why this number is so big. I'm not going to be on this over-under, guys, but if you were just determined to bet the over-under, I'd probably shade slightly towards the under. But looking at the props in this game, there's definitely an under we want to look at. We're going to be on the under on LeBron James's points, under 24.5. I don't think we're going to see a good game from LeBron here in game 1 of the series. I think he'll play a little bit more of a facilitator role, and unless he gets like crazy hot shooting the ball from the perimeter or something like that, I'm not expecting to see a very good night from him. I mean, just in general, game 1 LeBron, it's kind of a thing. I don't think we're going to see a lot of positives from him in this one. Moving along, looking at some more player props, we've got Jamal Murray. His rebound number is currently at 4.5 rebounds. The last game against the Lakers, we saw him have 6 boards, and if you take the over on that 4.5 rebounds, you can get that at plus 120. I know rebounding for a guard is probably a little bit tougher during the postseason, but I think we'll see Murray get in there, mix it up enough. He's going to get some rebounds in this game, and it doesn't take very many for him to get over that 4.5. And it doesn't have to, this bet doesn't have to cash that often for it to be a good bet for us, really, because I mean, you're getting it at plus 120. That's a very good deal in my books. Another Jamal Murray prop that we're interested in is his over in his assists. The number is currently at 6.5. The last time he played the Lakers, guys, he had 11 assists. Like, I know Jokic gets a lot of assists, but as long as we see some of the guys knocking down some shots, as long as we see Murray getting some assists to Jokic, which I think we definitely expect to see, and Jokic usually has his absolute way with Anthony Davis, I think we can definitely feel good about the over on his assists. He needs 7 assists for it to cash. We're getting plus 110 on this bet too, so that feels like a very, very good spot to me. We're definitely kind of high on Jamal Murray to have a big game here in game 1 of the series. I think the Nuggets will come out fast in this one. That's one of the main reasons we're going to be on Denver in this game for sure. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit the like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.